What is the most inoffensive thing you've seen someone get offended by? We were choosing a mascot for a summer camp where I worked. It was the first day of camp and we'd always let the campers vote on a mascot that we'd use for the rest of the summer as sort of a bonding thing. This year, the kids voted for wolves as the mascot. It was almost unanimous. But one kid, probably about 9 or 10, threw a fit because wolves are bad guys, and predators and killers, and he doesn't want to be a wolf. He wants to be a hero. He refused to participate in any team activities because he didn't want to be on a team with the bad guys. At one point, we brought in a guy in a full mascot wolf costume for some anti-bullying program and the kid had a massive tantrum. I almost felt like we were going to learn at some point that his brother was killed by wolves or some other tragic origin story. I did feel bad for the boy because I was fairly certain he had some kind of unaddressed emotional difficulties or something. But we weren't going to change the mascot name that almost everyone voted for. The really sad thing is that wolf populations have suffered a lot due to stereotypes that they're bad. I still remember in kindergarten when my friend and I were reading all the colors out loud on one of those Crayola super packs. I got straight up yelled at and sent to the principal's office for saying orange pizzazz, because the teacher said I called someone a piss ass, and would not listen despite having the crayon as evidence. After a 30-minute scolding and waiting for my mom to leave work to pick me up for my suspension, she came in all apologetic. When I explained to her the whole situation, not the school's side, Ma went apeshit. I'd heard her say shit once. That's the only swear I ever heard from her. And we had just been rear-ended in traffic. How about cunt? Can he say cunt? 'Cause you're all being cunts right now. This is fucking ridiculous. And just went off while I'm sitting there all. Oh, and the principal is just red AF. I got unsuspended on the spot. But she pulled me out of school for the day anyway. We had a lovely day and she explained very well how I shouldn't swear like that unless absolutely necessary, and I've exhausted all civility. When being civil simply isn't working. Sometimes you might have to call someone a piss ass. The next day at school, I learned that I now had the stigma of being the kid who got the Crayola super pack taken away. Using a walking stick. I was in a car accident a few years ago and it fucked my leg up. Since then I've been using a walking stick. I was walking to shop. Pre-pandemic. And an old bloke gave me the dirtiest look I've ever seen. What do you need a cane for? You're only a kid. He actually got quite pissy just seeing me using a stick. Like, my dude. I'm just out trying to buy some milk. I don't need your shit today. I didn't say that out loud. I just said it to myself after I got home. Maybe 22 years ago. I had a phone interview with a baking company. I didn't care to have my peers know what I was up to, so I took the call on my cell phone in my car. The call was crystal clear and no technical issues. At one point, they had mentioned the weather and asked how it was where I was. I told him that I was sitting in my car and I could see that it was actively snowing and whatnot. The interviewer asked me, "Are you taking this call on a cell phone?" I told him I was. Then he asked me if I thought that was appropriate. I asked him what he meant by that. He said he thought it was kind of rude to take a formal call on a cell phone. I told him I would be more than happy to conclude the interview if talking on a cell phone was an issue. If he was interested, I'd be happy to continue it the next day when I'd be at a desk. He again repeated how rude he thought it was that I had called from a cell phone and that there was no need to continue the interview process. I disagreed with the first point but did agree with the second. To this day, I wonder what the hell he was talking about and where he was coming from. One time someone got offended when I put on my seatbelt. Thought I was commenting on her ability to drive. I was at the vet with my cat and he sneezed. This was apparently very offensive to an elder woman. She was there with a corgi. And she started screaming at me for about 30 minutes about pet hygiene. We used an app at work called Bonfire. One person refused to use it because bonfires are for witchcraft and pagans. I once listened to my boss try to lecture the fire marshal because he was talking about something being flame retardant. Her reasoning was you should just call it fireproof because retardant was an awful word. It was one of those times where I really should have tried to stop her, but instead I just stood off to the side, probably making a surprised Pikachu face. This is within a year after the DADT repeal. Part of the repeal was that, obviously, you can't make fun of people for their sexual preference. So calling people gay was out. Was getting directions to a coworker's house. He lived on Gay Street. Our supervisor got belligerent about how we can't say that, even after explaining how it was the street name. I had a coworker who got mad at me because I asked her not to tickle me. A. That's inappropriate at work. B. We're not children. We're not in a relationship. We're not family. C. I don't like being tickled. She flipped out and said everyone likes being tickled and I was being mean to her. Happily my boss had my back. Edit. This happened over a decade ago. I don't work with that woman or for that company. In fact, even the company doesn't exist anymore. I am also a woman. The coworker was very young and immature. This was her first job. Her first time in a professional environment. And she really had no clue about professional workplace behavior. I wasn't upset because she truly thought she was being friendly. But I still don't like being tickled. I got in trouble in kindergarten for saying the word dead. Apparently it was too violent. When I was a child, my mom paid for something with a check. The cashier remarked that my mom had nice handwriting. My mom flew off the handle. And we had to storm out of the shop in outrage. To this day, I have no idea what happened. I spent 9 hours deep cleaning the house for an inspection. I went above and beyond, clearing my work schedule and going the extra mile. And my roommate double-checked my work. He had a complete psychotic meltdown because I forgot to sweep underneath the couch. I moved out the next day and never spoke to him again. I worked at a restaurant and we put up some Halloween decorations. We had to take them all down when someone found the glittery skull decoration offensive. I am a disabled person. My life sucks because of my disability, and no longer being able to do the things I used to love makes me quite depressed sometimes. Some asshole tried to lecture me about how I was ableist for wishing there was a cure for my disability. Fuck me for not enjoying being in constant pain and possibly ending up in a wheelchair in the future, I guess. The Pixar short Lava. He walked out saying it was deeply offensive and didn't explain why. Someone posted a video about 9/11 and someone commented, "Please take this down. You're not from New York. You will never understand this pain." She said this as if only people from New York were in the World Trade Center. A fucking picture of an eye. We have an organization-wide theme every year and all the PCs on our network have the same background and theme which can't be changed. So this year's theme is Vision is 2020. And the background was a zoomed-in picture of an eye in really awesome colors. 2 women on staff wrote letters to complain that the picture was heathen, as it drew from Illuminati imagery and paid tribute to the all-seeing eye of Egyptian deities. They whined and complained to such an extent that the picture was eventually changed to shut them up and let the normal folks get back to our actual work. The Canadian flag told me that if they put up a Canadian flag in PA, the neighbors would come and shoot everybody. Not quite sure about the logic on that one. I called someone fam, and she blew up at me, saying that I clearly meant the N-word. Back when I was in grade school, a teacher of mine was discussing something, I don't exactly remember the context. And he said, God or a god, in order to be neutral to those with various religious beliefs. And probably to cover his ass since he was commenting about religion while in school. And a girl in my class got so upset, offended about it, she started bawling about how he is being disrespectful to her beliefs. The guy who got offended in a council meeting because someone used the term black hole. Edit. Found a video. Had someone get offended by me calling my brother bro. They insisted that I was racist and that white people can't be related to Mexicans. Like seriously, lady. That's not how genetics work. We are 100% related and are a mix of white and Native American. It's not that unheard of for one biological sibling to come out lighter or darker than the other. And even if we weren't related. Seriously. I'm racist for calling someone close to me my bro despite being different skin tones. Seriously. Thank you for coming to my rant session. Have a good day. This guy at a Halloween party I was at was dressed in a giant bacon costume. Some girl was yelling at him for being so offensive toward Jews and Muslims. She was neither Jewish nor Muslim. One of the Muslim guys at the party asked her what the fuck she was talking about, but she didn't back down. Lol. I have no idea why people feel they need to go out of their way to be inaccurately offended on behalf of other cultures, religions. My mom got mad because, and I quote, she never asks me for money, referring to me. I'm sorry. Would you rather I constantly bug you for cash so I can buy candy and shit? At school someone didn't have a calculator and asked if anyone had one they could borrow. Someone offered them a pink calculator and they refused, saying that they were offended they'd try and give them something girly.